Hey gang, I'm Paul of Studpack. Welcome back to our channel and welcome back to our project. In yesterday's video, you saw Jordan and I working hard to get ready for today's inspections. We had a couple of things to do this morning before the inspector got here. One of them was a plumbing issue and the other was electrical. The plumbers got here at 8 a.m. I was here to meet them. They were done in an hour and 15 minutes. Let me show you what they did. The first issue we had was this washing machine was draining into the original PVC pipe that was here, and it was 1.5 inches in diameter. So was the trap. Once it got into the floor, it was 2 inch. Modern code wants 2 inch all the way up. This is called a standpipe, like we talked about. And the reason is that a modern dishwasher pumps out a lot more water quicker, and this pipe needs to be able to handle it. And that's why this needs to be larger. The inspectors look for that, and we're ready for it. The other thing we had to do was repair or install new shutoff valves. If you remember from a previous video, the old hot water valve had been leaking. I think that was around Christmas time. I ran over here, put a shark bite valve on it, but they put all new valves on here. You can get a shot of this, Jordan. They ran PEX right here, really clean. That's all good to go. The other problem we had was this dryer was sticking way out here, almost into this doorway. Not because of this, but because of the gas line. Check this out. This is what they pulled out of there. This was sticking way out of the wall. And look at that valve and that 90. That looks like it came off the space shuttle. We find this a lot around here, actually. All the refineries, all the plants, a lot of people work there. They're demoing something, or it falls off the truck, ends up at somebody's house in their project. But I'm going to hang on to this ball valve. That's a Hall's Mecana, made in the USA. They're still around, 90-year-old company. And probably a 3,000 pound steam fitting elbow right there. I'm gonna hang on to those. Our plumbers did a great job, and I do want to point out that these two hoses, we have a stainless steel on the hot side and a rubber hose on the cold side. I'm just gonna change those both later on in the project. And one little tip for you, I always check to make sure that the hot or the red one or the one on the left is really the hot. You'd be surprised how many times these are switched, and when you think you're washing with cold water, you're washing with hot. So make sure that you check those on your house if that's a problem for you. But right now, let's go over to the farm sink location and I'll show you what else the plumbers did. So from our previous video where we talked about the farm sink, we realized we need to lower this drain. Now it was at 18 and the plumber said that's what they normally put them at. But based on our experiment from yesterday, we decided we would put it at 15. So that's what the plumbers did. From the slab to the center of this T right here, it's 15 inches. And you can even tell now there's a lot more slope on this pipe, which we needed. So they simply cut it off down here, put on a new 2 by 2 by 1.5 T. It's got a 2 by 1.5 bushing inside. So they tied in to their 1.5 inch vent with a fern coat. Once they were done with that, I made this block. I had to notch it for the vent and the cold and the hot water. Put on my nail plates, so we're good to go for the farm sink. So after the plumbers left, the electricians got here a few minutes later. They had to come back today and put an interlock device on our new panel for the backup generator. It prevents the backup generator breaker and the main breaker from being on at the same time to protect those guys working on the power lines after all the disasters we get down here in southern Louisiana with all the hurricanes and high winds. And after they left, the inspector showed up. Now he thought he was coming here for the rough electric inspection, but I had other plans for that guy. So the way it works here, I can only request the rough electric inspection, but I'm ready for framing and I'm ready for plumbing. So he showed up and I walked him through the electric real quick and I said, hey man, listen, I'm actually ready for a framing. Can you sign off on that while you're here? And the plumbing? He said, looks like you're ready. No problem, bud. I got you. Signed off on that. We're super excited and we are good to go. Now, like I said, he wasn't here that long. Drop me a comment below. Try to guess how long that guy was in this building. The person who's the closest, we will pin your comment. So it all came together today. It was the perfect trifecta. Got all those inspections done. We're super excited. And he even asked me for my business card. So who knows, we may be working at his house. And then I wonder how fast that inspection is going to be. Alrighty gang, now that we passed inspection with flying colors, we are going to insulate today and hang drywall tomorrow. Now usually when you go to a job site and you see guys doing insulation, or if you've done it yourself, you know what I'm talking about. You're on your knees, you're on the slab, you've got your hand compressing the insulation with a straight edge, you got your other hand, a sharp utility knife, and you're trying to cut that stuff with your left hand in the way. Your utility knife is getting dull because you're usually like on concrete or something. If you put a board under there to try to save the blade, you got to always move that stuff. You're trying to measure every piece, hook it on the end of a piece of insulation that doesn't want to be hooked. And the worst is when you're trying to make a rip cut this way. I need a piece 4 inches wide. That is tough to do. So I got over here this morning while I was waiting on the inspection, and I made this special tool. It's going to make this super easy and super safe and super accurate. Maybe a little overkill, but if you're doing a whole house, this thing's going to pay for itself. Let's go check it out. All right, what we have here looks like a big panini press. We should name this thing, Jordan, don't you think?
I think we should name it.
Dude, when did you do that? Look at that, the stud pack press.
Yeah, so after I got done editing the video that came out this morning, it was like 5:30. I grabbed some coffee, I headed over here, and I improved my tagging skills.
That looks great.
Not that I ever used them.
That looks awesome. So all this is one sheet of OSB ripped in half into a 2 by 8 foot piece. And then I also picked up 2 2x4s. I actually had to sell some of my Amazon stock to buy this stuff last night. But I ripped that 2x4 in half. Here's one half of it. Here's the other half. On the other 2x4, they're simply at the back. And they're attached together with some cheap hinges that I picked up. You probably have some hinges sitting around in your toolbox already that you could do this with.
Man, we're gonna have to lock this thing up when we're done, huh?
Yep, we need to store it inside. This is worth a lot of money right now.
Yeah, it's like a premier tool.
Yep, so let's show you how it works. So the first area we're gonna insulate is the area between the old tray in the kitchen ceiling where the fluorescent light was and the new beam we put in. I need 7 pieces, 3 foot, 8.5 inches long. Got my tape measure, made a mark, and I cut a kerf through the OSB, not through these, just through the OSB, in the bottom piece and in the top piece. I use my track saw, circular saw will work, jigsaw, whatever you got. So let me grab a piece of insulation and we'll show you how this works. You can do paper side up, paper side down, doesn't matter. So I've got the factory in lined up down here. All I got to do now is close this. It's going to compress the insulation and I'm ready to grab my jigsaw. Now I got a pretty long blade on there. You need a long blade because it has to go through both of these in one pass. Put it through those 2 kerfs I made. Make a cut. Open that up. And there we go. Super safe, super clean. So this is the last piece I need. I actually cut all the others already while I was testing my jig, so we're ready to go. I think it'd be a good idea if we went inside and put all these in so we don't get everything mixed up. So let's head in the attic and install this insulation.
Let's get it done.
All right, gang, doesn't that look great? Got our cathedral ceiling all insulated. That jig we made makes it go super fast. We can go out there, cut every piece, fly up there with them, put them in, and we're done. Got a kind of a late start today. We had the plumbers here this morning, the electricians, the inspection. We even had some design work going on. They came by with floor samples, backsplash, the chandelier for the dining room. Wait till you guys see that backsplash tile. It's amazing. Make sure you stay tuned for that video when we install it. It's gonna look super great. But it's about to start storming outside. We got a big mess to clean up out there. We gotta make sure we put our jig inside because just the wood in that thing is worth like hundreds and hundreds of dollars, right?
Right.
So we're gonna go out there and clean up, get some rest, and hit it hard early in the morning. We'll see you then. Alrighty gang, it's the next day. We are well rested from our hard work yesterday, but we had to fly out of here last night, go to my son's high school across town to his art show. The gym was full of artwork from all those kids at that school. It's amazing what some of them can do. We're actually going to throw up a picture right now on the screen of the pencil artwork that my son did. It's a famous actor. Drop us a comment below. Who do you think it is? But we're back here on the project. We want to insulate all day today and get this thing ready for drywall. So here's a piece of our insulation, just like that, running up and down the wall or across your ceilings, and it is 14.5 inches wide. It is made to friction fit between your framing that is 16 inches on center. All this is friction fit. There's not a staple in it, but you can see that sometimes if your framing isn't perfect, it can fall down. That's what we were experiencing over here in the foyer on that old original framing. So I ran to the hardware store, picked up a good old Arrow stapler, picked up some 1/4-inch staples, and we're going to staple this through this paper into the framing. All right, so let's discuss the elephant in the room, and that is stapling the insulation. And where do you put the staple? I'm sure if you went to the insulation manufacturer's website for installation instructions, they would tell you to put this paper flange on the face of your framing, just like that, for maximum R value right here. Now I can tell you in my 30+ years in the trades, I have seen that done only once. And here's why. So if you put your paper flange right there, like most people do, sure, you're gonna lose a little bit of R value, but if you put it there, you know what you're gonna lose? You're gonna lose drywall contractors. And here's why you're gonna lose those guys. They're gonna come into the project and all the framing is gonna be covered with paper. Now you know the name of the game in drywall is speed and accuracy. What if you can't even see what you're trying to screw into because it's covered up? Now yes, you're gonna know about where it is because of the staples, but what if all those staples aren't driven in all the way? Now you've got a hump. Maybe that hump is at a seam and now the drywall finisher's mad at you because the drywall installers couldn't put it in properly because you stapled it on the face. Imagine I'm hanging drywall and I come in here like I said, and I cannot see one stick of wood. All I see is brown paper. My anxiety level is immediately through the roof because I don't know where I'm gonna put a screw now. Am I gonna pull this back and make sure I'm in the middle of this? No, it's just a huge hassle and it's just simply not worth the aggravation. So we're gonna staple it to the side, only where we need it, and the drywall guys are gonna thank us later.
Hey, that's us.
It is us, but the drywall finishers are certainly gonna thank us because our drywall is gonna be nice and smooth. But before we start hanging this, I wanna go in the attic and show you one more thing before we get started. Hey gang, back up in our attic, you're gonna notice we're using R19 on the ceilings. Couple reasons for that. We have 2x6 framing on our ceilings. This stuff is for 2x6 framing. What happens? It's gonna flush out on the back side. Because this is a remodel, we have a lot of this going on. We've got this 2x8 on the flat, we've got a 2x4, we've got wires crossing a lot of this right here. If we go with a thicker insulation, we're gonna have to compress it to get it under here, and under the wires. And then we are affecting the R value for real. So the plan here is we're gonna insulate like this, drywall, come back in here, put in all our lights, pull this back, maybe put a light right here, put it back where it belongs, and then that's gonna give us the opportunity to get unfaced insulation. So unfaced would not have the paper, it's plain on both sides, and then we can go in a perpendicular direction like that. Imagine this is unfaced insulation, and we can go like that, tight, all the way across, like a blanket over the whole room. That's our plan, and that's why we're using R19. And remember guys, this house has blown-in insulation. This is typical of what is around the rest of the house. It's only 2 or 3 inches thick. So we are way ahead of the game on this. It's much better than it was. And the reason there's a big mountain of that blown-in insulation over there is because when we did our demo, I got up here with a garden rake and I raked out that insulation knowing that I could spread it out and make it thicker over there. That way it doesn't end up in the landfill and I don't have to deal with it downstairs.
And that's what you want. I mean, that's how it should look.
That's how it should look, yeah. So we hope we answered a lot of questions that you might have about insulation. And remember, we're in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We don't have the climate that a lot of you guys have in Canada where you need R60 up here. That's just crazy for us. I can't imagine insulation that thick in a home or a spray foam in a house. It's just not a thing down here. It's mostly blown in and bad insulation. But now that we got all that out of the way, let's head downstairs and start insulating this project. Alrighty gang, quick pause in the action. We have to say goodbye to an old friend. Well, not really goodbye, it's just till next time. This ladder's in the way. We need to take it down, bring it outside, and put this final joist into place. The reason I said till next time, we're not gonna throw this in the dumpster. We're actually gonna use this outside because we have some cabinets to spray paint, some other items, and this will be a perfect work table to do that on. So I'm gonna get up there, take out those screws, we'll get this thing outside, put that joist back, and continue insulating. All right, gang, we are done with this ceiling. That went super fast. You can see on the time lapse how quickly we moved. You did see me over here cutting it the traditional way. By traditional, I mean you're not on the floor. I've got a piece of scrap plywood to protect the tip of my blade, and I've got a glove on my left hand so I don't cut my hand. Well, we are done. Jordan was up there and he was saying it's already getting hotter in the attic. And I think it's getting cooler down here already. It's making a big difference. And the sound difference is also huge. If you've ever insulated a new house, you know what I'm talking about. So right now, all we have left, I think, is 11 pieces right here, 56 inches long. They're all the same. We're gonna go outside to our jig and cut those. Jordan's gonna go in the attic one more time. We're gonna finish the ceiling, and we just have a few parts to do on the wall. Right here, where we went from an 8-foot wall to the 9-foot wall. We'll insulate right there, a couple pieces over there, and we're done insulating. Let's go outside and cut, what is it, 11 at 56, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. All right, cool. All the ceilings completely done. All we have left is a little bit of the walls to do. We have these 9 little spaces right here above this 8-foot wall. Again, remember, we raised that to 9 feet, so we have to fill in right there. 4 little pieces right here, 1 here, and 1 at the fireplace. I'm trying to stretch our inventory. There's 1 unopened bale, but I think we can finish all this without opening that and return that and get some of our money back. Let's go out here and check it out. All right, we have 3 8-footers left in the R19, and there's our bale of R13. So R13 is 3.5 inches thick, R19, 5.5 inches thick. And plus over here, we have all these pieces. I think they're like 3 feet long. There's over 12 of them. That was our drops from the ceiling we did. So I think we're gonna make it without opening that bale of R13. So I'm really happy we can return that. That's kind of the name of the game right now. So how are we going to use this R19 in a wall? It's super easy. It's just like splitting apart a Pillsbury biscuit. We're just going to peel off the back of it and end up with something that resembles R13. So let's go inside, take our measurements, come cut all our pieces, and finish this insulation. All these little pieces, they're gold. Hang on to them when you're done insulating. Go around your project and fill in all the areas like on this 3-piece corner. Just like chinking a log cabin. Alrighty guys, insulation is done. We can put a big green check mark in that box and move right down our list for the next project. Came out great. We can already tell a difference in this house, like we said. It's much cooler with the AC running and the sound is way different right now. We hope you learned some tips and tricks. If you have to insulate your project, now you can do it yourself. But from where we stand, it looks like your like button needs a little bit of insulation. Make sure that thing is not too cold, not too hot. Go ahead and smash it for us. Ask us a question, drop us a comment down below. And if you haven't subscribed, Jordan and I would super appreciate that. And we'll see you on the next one.